Did you know that 80% of parents struggle with toddler whining by the time their child is just 2 years old? And here's the kicker, many of those parents are unknowingly making it worse. Yep, what seems like normal parenting might actually be fueling the very behavior you're trying to avoid. Whining isn't just annoying, it's a sign your toddler's learning to get what they want by pushing your buttons. But don't worry. It's not too late to turn things around. In this video, we'll uncover the surprising mistakes that lead to more whining and show you exactly how to fix them. From small everyday actions to big picture strategies, you'll learn the secrets to reducing the constant whining and bringing back the calm. Stick around for actionable tips that will make a real difference, starting today. Chapter 1. Whining Alert. The hidden trigger. Have you ever found yourself wondering why your toddler suddenly starts whining for no apparent reason? You might be surprised to learn that this behavior often begins when we make the smallest mistake without even realizing it. The key is that toddlers are naturally emotional creatures, and their biggest way of communicating is through behavior like whining. According to child psychologist Dr. John Gottman, children from 1 to 3 years old are learning how to regulate their emotions and behaviors. When we unknowingly trigger this behavior, it often comes down to how we respond to their needs. One hidden trigger is overindulgence. When you give in to your toddler's demands too quickly, you're teaching them that whining will get them what they want. In a study by the American Psychological Association, researchers found that children who receive frequent rewards for negative behavior, such as whining, are more likely to repeat those behaviors. You may think you're easing their frustration, but you're unintentionally reinforcing it. Another trigger is failing to set clear boundaries. Toddlers thrive on structure and routines. When parents change expectations on a whim, it confuses them and can lead to frustration. As author Dr. Laura Markham explains in her book Peaceful Parent, Happy Kids, kids are much less likely to whine when they know what to expect and when to expect it. It's important to set rules and stick to them, even if it feels easier to just give in. Consistency builds security and reduces confusion, which in turn reduces whining. Chapter 2. The yes trap. Saying too much, too soon. Saying yes all the time may feel like you're being a kind and loving parent, but this could be a trap. Toddlers are often testing boundaries, and giving them everything they ask for, even when it's unreasonable, teaches them that whining is the fastest way to get results. A 2021 study from the Journal of Child Psychology found that children who experience frequent indulgence are more likely to display behavior problems later in life. You might think it's easier to say yes than to deal with a crying toddler, but this could set a dangerous precedent. Research shows that toddlers need to learn the concept of delayed gratification. In fact, the famous marshmallow test by psychologist Walter Mischel showed that children who could wait for a bigger reward were more likely to succeed later in life. Saying yes too much keeps toddlers from learning this important life skill. Instead of giving in every time, try saying, "Not right now," or "Let's talk about it later." One effective strategy is to offer choices, which gives toddlers a sense of control without giving in to every demand. For instance, instead of offering only one snack, offer 2 choices. Would you like apple slices or crackers? This way, you maintain control but still allow them to feel empowered, which can reduce tantrums and whining. Chapter 3. Comfort Overload. Why too much coddling backfires. Comforting your toddler when they are upset is natural, but too much coddling can backfire. When you jump in to fix every problem or soothe every tear, you may inadvertently teach your child that they can't handle discomfort. In fact, research from the University of Michigan's Institute for Social Research has shown that children who don't experience some form of discomfort are more likely to develop a dependency on others for emotional regulation. This often leads to an increase in whining and a decrease in problem-solving skills. So, what's the balance? The key is not to over-coddle but to validate their feelings while giving them the space to handle the situation. A simple, "I know you're upset, but you can calm down," lets them know you understand their feelings, but you're not going to immediately solve every problem for them. This helps toddlers build emotional resilience. Studies show that toddlers who are given the chance to deal with small frustrations are better at regulating their emotions later in life. One such study published in Developmental Science found that children who learned how to manage minor frustrations independently were less likely to show aggressive behavior or emotional outbursts. Encouraging your toddler to handle small frustrations, whether it's sharing toys or waiting for a turn, can help teach them self-control and reduce whining in the long run. If you're finding these tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more strategies on how to handle toddler behavior without the stress. Chapter 4. Routine Rescue. How consistency stops the whine. Toddlers thrive on routine. It's like a safety net for them. When things are predictable, they know what to expect, and this reduces anxiety. In fact, a study from the University of Minnesota found that children who had regular routines were less likely to act out and whine. When they know what happens next, they feel secure. If you're struggling with whining, start by creating a daily routine. This doesn't have to be rigid, but having consistent times for meals, naps, and bedtime can make a huge difference. According to Dr. Harvey Karp, author of The Happiest Toddler on the Block, a predictable schedule makes it easier for toddlers to adjust and feel in control. They need structure to feel safe, and without it, they may resort to whining to fill that uncertainty. You can also prepare them for transitions. For example, when it's time to leave the park, give a 5-minute warning. This allows them to mentally prepare for what's coming next. A sudden change can trigger frustration and whining. Giving them time to adjust can prevent those meltdowns. Consistency doesn't just mean routines, but also being firm with expectations. If you let them get away with something one day and not the next, it sends mixed messages. Toddlers depend on you to set clear boundaries, so stick to your rules. This creates stability, which reduces confusion and, as a result, whining. Chapter 5. The Silent Language. Your nonverbal cues matter. It's easy to forget how much toddlers pick up from our body language. While you may not realize it, toddlers are constantly watching your every move. Research from the University of California shows that 55% of communication is nonverbal, meaning toddlers are very sensitive to the signals you send with your face, posture, and tone. For example, if you're tense or frustrated when telling your toddler no, they can pick up on that and respond with whining. Dr. Adele Faber and Dr. Elaine Maslish, in their book How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk, suggest parents become aware of their nonverbal cues. When you stay calm and collected, it teaches your toddler that emotional control is important, and it can help minimize their whining. Your facial expressions matter too. If you frown while explaining why they can't have a toy, your toddler might see that as an emotional response, which makes them feel it's an argument. Instead, try to stay neutral or even use a smile to reinforce that you're still calm and in control. Another important nonverbal cue is eye contact. When you kneel down to your toddler's level and make eye contact, it shows them that you're fully engaged. This strengthens the connection between you both and reduces the likelihood of a tantrum or whining. Plus, they feel respected and heard, which can make a big difference in their behavior. Chapter 6. The Power of No. Teaching toddlers to tolerate disappointment. Saying no to your toddler isn't easy. It can feel harsh, but it's one of the most important tools for building emotional strength. Toddlers who constantly get their way will have a harder time learning patience and self-control. In fact, a 2019 study published in Child Development showed that children who experience appropriate disappointment at an early age are more likely to develop better self-regulation skills later in life. When you say no, it's important to be firm but gentle. Dr. Laura Markham, in her book Peaceful Parent, Happy Kids, emphasizes that you can say no without causing emotional harm. The key is to offer a reason and make sure your toddler understands the decision. For example, instead of just saying, "No, you can't have candy," you might say, "I know you want candy, but it's almost time for dinner, and we'll have dessert after." You don't need to apologize for saying no. Apologizing can confuse your child and make them feel like they should be upset about the decision. Instead, model calmness and confidence in your no. This teaches them that hearing no isn't the end of the world, it's just part of life. Another important part of saying no is offering alternatives. Instead of focusing on what they can't have, redirect their attention to something else. For instance, if they want to watch TV but you've said no, suggest a fun activity you can do together, like reading a book or playing outside. This reduces the chances of whining and teaches your toddler that there are plenty of other enjoyable things to do. Incorporating small moments of disappointment, like waiting a few extra minutes for their snack, can also help build emotional resilience. These small challenges teach them how to handle frustration without resorting to whining. So, don't be afraid to set limits. They're not just necessary for good behavior, they're critical for your toddler's emotional growth. If you found these tips helpful, make sure to subscribe for more actionable strategies on how to manage toddler behavior and help your little one thrive.